What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Bassin Southwest. I'm Daniel Peacock, and again, let's start out by saying thank you everybody who is following along, who's subscribed, who's watched the videos, who's left comments, who've helped me out with my video camera. You know who I'm talking about. And everybody that's just putting in all the positive feedback and trying to help me make this better. And for anybody that's new, please subscribe and like, comment. You guys share these videos. Let's keep this going and keep everybody informed and catching more fish. So today we're going to go over something that I haven't done yet, and that's some product reviews. As you guys know, if you follow me, I recently was picked up by XZone Lures, and we're going to cover one of their baits today, as well as a rod and reel that I'm not sponsored by, but I'm wishing that I was. So stay tuned and let's check it out, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay guys, first things first, a little background. I've been sponsored by Pure Fishing for the last few years here, and this year I decided to relinquish that, to give it up, and try to go with some companies that are a little bit smaller. I feel like I can help them a little bit better, and that the potential for them to help me is a little bit better. You know, when you're dealing with companies that big, you have to have a huge presence. You know, you got your Josh Bertrands, your Mike Iaconellis, all these guys, Fletcher, they've all got some form of pure fishing tie at this point. Spiderwire, Berkeley, Strand, all those companies are under there. So I decided, just on that alone, that I would try something else. Now, there's no hard feelings for me with Berkeley. Abu Garcia makes great reels and rods. That's what I've been using. I just wanted to try something a little different for myself and see if I can take what I'm doing with fishing to a different spot than what I think I could get to with a big company like that, as I don't see anytime soon me becoming an Elite Series Pro. So I reached out to XZone Lures thanks to Deb Cunningham, who introduced me to these baits, and I was blown away by them right away. So I reached out and talked to them, and they were good enough to put me on the team. So today's lure we're going to go over is the Muscleback Craw, and this is it right here. Just a good craw shape. It's got a big fat body, so if you use it as a jig trailer, it's going to stay on there nice. Got good pinchers, good action. So a couple of things that they do that I like, for one, is the ease of reading. There's a center line that runs both top and bottom, so you're dead in the center of that bait as you poke your hook through the bottom and the top when you're Texas rigging it. So that's a really nice feature. Their claws on this bait in particular, they float. So when it goes in the water, they stand up. And we already talked about how important I feel that is to have that defensive position as a craw. They also have a flanged craw, so you'll get this motion as it goes through the water. I can't really show you that here because I don't have a big enough tank, but I'm going to show you some footage of this underwater. And it doesn't take very much at all to get these craws moving underwater. You just twitch your line a little and they boop, boop, boop. So they're really cool baits. They're not overly salted, which also helps with the floating. You add too much salt, it's going to sink. But there is some salt still in there. They're scented, but they're durable. As you can see here, I'm not taking out a bunch of plastic and salt at the same time. I think these are going to last much longer than what you're used to in a soft plastic bait. So I'm super excited. They have a full line of all kinds of different things, from solid body swim baits from 3 to like 5.5 inches. They got a smaller version of the craw at 3 1/4 inches. They've got stick baits, they've got beaver style baits, they've got drop shot baits, and like shaky headworms, things like that. So this color right here, we're going to look, this is called the Bama Craw. I've only got a couple colors right now. It's like green pumpkin on top and then orange on the bottom. And again, if you've been watching, you know I love orange on my crawdad baits here in this state. So next one here is just straight up watermelon candy. Green with some purple and green flake, and this color produces everywhere in this state. It produces. So go out, guys, check out XZone baits, give them a whirl. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I dang sure wasn't, and that's why I decided to be a part of that team. Okay, so moving on to the next. Now this is probably the first product I really have talked about not being sponsored. Obviously, as a sponsored angler, you talk about the products that you are sponsored by, and you use the products you're sponsored by, or at least you should. So this company, when I decided I was going to relinquish the Abu Garcia deal, I needed rods and reels. And I started looking. And I started calling around, and I called these guys. They said, get your hands on one, we'll talk. Again, that's how most sponsorships work. You reach out, you end up spending some money, you get your hands on them, you decide what you think, and you guys go from there and decide if that's what you're going to do. I reached out. I was in love with it right off the bat. And the biggest reason is price. I don't think you're going to find another reel that's going to perform as good as this one for the amount of money you're going to spend. They turned me down, and that's fine. I'm still going to give the review, the honest review of what I think this reel is. And I will probably still continue to use this rod and reel. And without further ado, I guess, here it is. It is the Piscifun Phantom. I know maybe a lot of you guys are going to giggle, or you've heard Piscifun is this cheap brand, a no-name. I will tell you this much right now, if you get your hands on one, you will change your mind. Just going over a few of the little things. This thing is 5.7 ounces. It weighs nothing. You show me another reel that weighs 5.7 ounces that is in this price range, and I would be real shocked. So 5.7 ounces, all carbon frame, all carbon side plates, carbon drag star, carbon handle. Pretty much everything about this reel is carbon or graphite, okay, to start. Second thing, dual braking. If we pop the end off, we have a centrifugal brake in here, and we have the magnet brake in the side. Anybody that's used these, I'm sure, can attest, you can basically back your spool tension all the way off and control your entire cast with these brakes. Centrifugal for the first part of the cast, magnetic keeps a constant force on there, and slow it down towards the end. Super great once you can get them dialed in. I know it's a little more of a step as you're doing it, well worth it in the long run. Another thing is I'm going to pop, the side plate just pops off just like this, nothing to it. Okay, I'm going to pop the spool out. Alright, and I want you to look here. The very end of this, it's so heavily ported. They have taken about every ounce I think that you can out of a spool on a reel. And a lighter weight spool means further casting distance. It takes less inertia to get that reel spool spinning. So that not only allows you to cast farther, but will allow you to cast lighter baits with this as well. My experience being at Roosevelt, I was throwing a 3-inch Z-Man Ned bait. You know, they float, they're not heavily salted, they weigh nothing, and I was able to cast it with this and the rod, which is impressive. I can't do that. Normally I'd put something like that on a spinning reel. So again, those kinds of features. The lightweight is 7 bearings. Real quick on bearings, guys, a 10 bearing reel is not going to be better than a 7 bearing reel just because it says 10 bearings. Okay, I'm going to show you 4 bearings on where one of these can be, and it's all on the handle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one has 7. If they had bearings in the handles, which they may have one, I haven't looked, it'd be 11 bearings. And the only thing they did was put bearings in the handle. So don't get tied up on bearing counts, okay? You're gonna have a bearing here, a bearing here, a bearing here, and these are your important ones for casting and smoothness, okay? Then another one up underneath your main drive on your crank handle. That's 4, and you may have a couple on your worm gear drive, 5, 6. You see where I'm going with this. Then you start putting them in here. Now you can make a reel that's got 11 or 12 bearings, and it ends up being a marketing thing, guys. That's all it is, I promise you. And what's more important is what kind of bearing they put in it. Good bearings will last longer, they'll spin better, yada yada. You know the spiel. So this reel, another thing it has that I can't show you, it's carbon fiber drag in there. So if you're a Revo guy, you already know about carbon fiber drag, and how much more powerful they are than your normal nylon washers. And that makes a big difference. So this reel also, it's 1 gear ratio, but it's an in-betweener. So now I can use this 1 gear ratio to cover all my bases, and that's what I plan to do. It's between 6.6 and 7.3. It's dead on 7.0. And in my opinion, perfect. So if you're gonna throw like a 5.4 and your crankbait and you're hauling butt down the bank, you're gonna kill yourself, okay, trying to keep up with that crankbait. I think the gear ratio on this is perfect. So again, lightweight, dual braking, carbon fiber everything, carbon fiber drag, tons of drag pressure, and dude, I can cast this a mile. The only other reel I could say that compared to the castability of this is a Bass Pro Shops Carbon Light. The difference being the price. And Bass Pro Shops Carbon Lights are not that expensive. That's part of the allure there as well. They make a quality reel at Bass Pro too, but these are still a little cheaper. For instance, right now with the coupon code they have going on, you can get this reel for $60. And if you can find a $60 reel that performs better than this one, well, I'll kiss your butt, because I don't think they exist. So somebody prove me wrong, and we'll see how that goes. But that takes care of the reel. Again, I'm super impressed. Those are going to be in my boat all year. And again, the rod. This is a Piscifun Serpent rod. Okay. Now this rod, the savings off sticker are not as much as say maybe the reel, but again, this rod is super lightweight and very well made. And we'll just start back here at the handle. You get your golf style grips, the wind style, which I've known about forever, being golfing in high school and all that, but the comfort level with this kind of soft rubberized grip is awesome, and they're very much non-slip. There's no joke about that, and it doesn't matter if it's this one on the Piscifun or you get one on the Bass Pro Johnny Morris ones, whatever. These grips are the real deal. They really are good. And here you have which is basically a Fuji ACS reel seat. It doesn't say Fuji on it. Same style. You got the kind of double trigger, and it really fits your hand nicely as you go to palm. Okay. The hood here has metal and some graphite in there, and it locks down real nice and tight. You don't have a lot to it. You don't have a bunch of threads sticking out here. I know a lot of us know the thread issue. You end up wearing a spot on your finger if you fish a lot. So no threads, love it. 9 guides. These are all Fuji guides. I can't remember the ring insert. I'll link that, or I'll put that on the video, what the insert material is, and the frame material, whether it's titanium or steel, alkanite, whatever it is. But there's 9 of them, and they're basically just a normal concept guide. They're not micro guides. They're more of your standard guide train. So if you're going to be the guy that casts braid to leaders through, you have plenty of room on these to make it work. And again, overall, this whole setup, I would be fishing over the last few weeks here, and I got to the point where I quit tying baits on my other rods and reels. I would just continue. I would just tie a different leader on. I have braid on here. I would just tie a different leader on, and I would go to town because I really wanted to work this out and feel it. And it's so much lighter and so much more comfortable to fish than the others. It's going to be where I go. At this point, no rod and reel sponsor. I'm going with this Piscifun rod and reel. The price on the rod, I think, is $90. But again, they're constantly doing like a 15% or a 20% off on the website. You can get these things for so cheap. You can have a whole combo for less than $150. And again, I dare anybody to find me a better combo for a cheaper price than this. You know, put something down there. Maybe we'll look at it. We'll review it later. So those are my tackle reviews, guys. Give these guys a look. Everybody here, if you have any other products you want me to review, let me know. We'll see what I can do. I'm not going to go buy a $400 reel just to review. It ain't gonna happen. I don't even think you should buy a $400 reel ever. Anybody should ever buy a $400 reel. None of them are worth that, in my opinion. But keep me posted on things that you guys would like to see. I hope you liked the video. Again, like, share, comment. Let me know what we need to do next. We're heading out tomorrow. Gonna go to Roosevelt for a couple days. We're gonna shoot another tutorial Tuesday that I hope you guys really like. It's gonna be a little bit different for you boat owners. And then we're gonna try to show you guys how to catch some fish after a real nasty cold front. We just had about 3 or 4 days of really crappy weather here in Arizona. We're gonna try to make it down there, provided it doesn't snow too much, and show you guys how to catch some fish during about the worst case scenario weather conditions you can get. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.